You know, this guy was one of the most popular and respected players in NHL. His career brought him to many successes, mostly for the LA Kings. After retirement from the NHL, he became a great coach, assistant coach, head coach, involved in NHL properties in many means, has given back to the game in so many areas. But when Mike Murphy was first drafted, a lot of people didn't know where his career was going to take him, but it's taken him to so many levels of success. Again, in respect, we have to salute him today, and I apologize for not doing something on Mike Murphy previously. But what I found interesting about Mike Murphy, and I hope you take it the right way, he was in the hockey news a lot of times for a number of things because of his great play and the amount of injuries he suffered. I mean, holy frig. He would be a duplicate for that game operation. Now, Michael John Murphy played 13 seasons in the NHL for the Blues, the New York Rangers, and the LA Kings, and has been assistant coach and head coach in the NHL for the Kings, the Ottawa Senators, the Vancouver Canucks, Toronto Maple Leafs, and New York Rangers. Murphy also played for Team Canada, winning a return World Championship bronze medal in '78, and coached Team Canada, also coach in the IHL. Murphy is presently Senior Vice President of NHL hockey operations. Now, as a youth, him and teammate Peter Sullivan played in the '63 Quebec International Pee Wee Hockey Tournament with a minor hockey squad from North York. Now, born in Toronto, 6'1", 180 to right wing, was taken 25th overall in the 1970 draft by the New York Rangers. We're going to get into that pretty soon. Now, during his tenure in the NHL, he was captain of the Kings for 7 years and played in LA for 13 years, where he was the toast of the town in the Marcel Dion, Rogashaw, Vachon, Dave Taylor years. Again, he was also an all-star selection in 1980 and finished his NHL career with 231 goals, 318 assists for 566 points in 831 games. Now, upon retiring from hockey with the LA Kings, he became their third head coach. Murphy went on to be the AC of the Canucks, the Senators, and the Rangers. He was eventually promoted from being the AC of the Canucks to head coach of the fire team, the Milwaukee Admirals of the AHL. Murphy then left Milwaukee for an AC coach position with the Maple Leafs, and then Murphy was then promoted to stern but common practice, and was also forced to make a tough call during Game 3 of the first round of the 2010 Stanley Cup. Murphy had disallowed what was first ruled as a goal on the ice for the Canucks against Murphy's former team, the LA Kings. The incident is one of many that has called for greater NHL transparency from the public. The official ruling stated that video review was used to determine whether the puck was kicked into the net by Vancouver's Daniel Sedin with a kicking motion. Upon review, it was determined that the puck was propelled into the net by a kicking motion. This was not a deflection. The direction the puck was moving and the force of the skate were the determining factors, including no goal. According to Rule 49.2 of the NHL, a puck that is directed into the net by an attacking player's skate shall be a legitimate goal as long as no distinct kicking motion is evident. Later, Later in the interview with the CBC's Hockey Night in Canada, he admitted that the puck was not kicked in a distinct kicking motion, as the official NHL rules require, yet Murphy maintained his position on the judgment. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up, at least with Murphy, he could explain his theory about what was good and what was bad. Now, he first came to major prominence with the Toronto Marlies of the UHA, where he had 39 points in 44 games in '69. With the Marlies, that great 1970 squad, he had 50 points in 54 games and 7 goals in 6 postseason contests. Now, after being drafted, he was sent to Omaha Knights of the CHL, where he was there for a couple of seasons, but finally broke in with the Blues in '72 with 43 points in 63 games and 2 goals in their mini playoff run. '73 split time between St. Louis and the Rangers with 22 goals, and then found his way again the next season from the Rangers to St. Louis. Now, '75 he had 30 goals, followed by 3 consecutive seasons of 26, 25, and 20. 1980, his All-Star year, 27 goals, and again, a very consistent two-way player at the time. Now, the coaching record. LA Kings, 13, 21, and 4, playoff team, but lost in the first round. He was fired after a 7-16-4 start the next season, but 10 years later, he got a chance with Toronto. And in consecutive years, he only won 30 games with a 6 in the Central overall, which allowed him to, again, miss the playoffs. Now, we look at the raw information of his career, and it's quite interesting, too. His first game was against the Montreal Canadiens in 1971. And he played all the way up until April of '83, last game against Vancouver. Now, his noted number 14 was a very popular number for fans of the Kings in St. Louis. Now, he played on the '71 Omaha team that won the regular season and Adams Cup title. He was also Rookie of the Year with Omaha in '71. An all-star second-team selection that year, and he became the first rookie in St. Louis history to score 20 goals in a season, which is very unique because St. Louis was dying for offense at the time. The 20th goal came against veteran Detroit goalie Andy Brown, which was also part of a hat-trick in their 5-3 win against Detroit. Now, he scored at 8:53 of overtime to give LA a 3-2 home win over Toronto in Game 1 of the team's first-round playoff series on April 8, '75. He had the first of his 2 4-goal games for LA, tying a team record on January 22, '76. He scored 3 of his goals at a natural hat-trick in the third to tie a team record. The third-period goals came at 6 minutes, 10:55 in 1935, and were the only goals scored by either team in the period. All 4 of his goals were assisted by his great line mate, Dion, who set an LA record in that contest, since broken, with 5 helpers. Now, he had 7 power play goals in '76 and scored 13 goals for LA in his first 20 games of the '77 season. He had his second 4-goal game for LA, of course, against Toronto near Halloween on October 27, '79. Now, he became the first LA player to be a team captain for 4 full seasons in '79, and he was LA captain for 6 full seasons at the time, and he eventually gave up the C. No LA player would be team captain for as long until Wayne Gretzky in the mid-1990s. Now, he eventually tied LA's single-season record since broken, great two-way player, with 5 shorties in '83. Now, he left LA in '83 with franchise record for career playoff games with 45, career goals by a right wing, 194. He also left the team ranked second in career games at 673, fourth in points, 456, fourth in career goals, 194, fourth in career assists, 262, second in career playoff points, second in career playoff assists, and second in career playoff goals. And he became first man in LA Kings history to be both a captain and head coach of the team in 1987. Now, on an international level, he won a bronze at the Worlds in Prague in '78, that famous, Ron Ellis team. And with the World Championship team in Moscow in '86, he won a bronze and assistant coach. Now, non-playing career, again, he was named an LAAC in 1984, stayed there until '87, named the interim head coach on January 10, '87, upgraded to full-time May 20, '87, and remained there until December 6. He was named a Vancouver AC on March 3, '88, and remained that position on July 16, 1990. He was named Milwaukee head coach for the 90-91 season. He was named a Toronto assistant coach from 1991 to '94. He was named a Rangers AC in August of '94 and stayed there until '96. Excuse me, my apologies there. Stayed there until '96 and, of course, over there in '98. He was a Senators AC in '98-99. Now, later on, he was named a LA Special Assistant to GM on October 13, '83 and stayed there for that season. And anyway, named NHL Vice President Hockey Operations in 1999, a role upgraded to Senior Vice President Hockey Operations prior to 2007. Now, selected by the Ottawa Nationals in the '72 WHA draft, which was the first ever Major League draft for them, he eventually stepped out as LA captain because he recognized his career was on the decline. Now, the big line he played was called Off Broadway with Gene Carr and Tommy Williams for LA in '74. Boys, that was a good line. A lot of speed. Now, he eventually became a co-owner of a fitness center in Southern Cal during his playing days. And again, he had a big hat trick for LA against Washington on October 16, '78. Now, he allegedly signed a reported 3-year, $1.2 million contract to coach Toronto in 1996, at the time one of the biggest ever. Now, he also did play left wing, mostly in the 81 season, and of course he's remained an active member of the Kings Alumni Association after his retirement. Now, a very interesting situation with his injuries. We'll get into this in a second, because be careful with this, because I don't know if information I collected might not be all his injuries, because I had him having 30 injuries his career, but we'll double check this for you. Now again, Kings captain from September 75 to October 81. He was the playoffs points leader and assist leader for the Kings in 74, and the playoffs points leader and goals leader in 75. Playoff assist leader in 76, Unsung Hero Award winner, and also playoff assist leader in 77, and the Unsung Hero Award for LA in 1980. Now, team records. Again, most goals in one game, 4 twice, he shares that record, and most goals one period, 3, which he shares, all against Toronto. So you can't beat him, join him. Anyway, so now this is how do you end up from New York to LA? Thank you, Patsy Collette. He was traded by New York with Jack Eagers, Andre Dupont, and future considerations to St. Louis in exchange for Gene Carr, Jim Lorentz, and Wayne Connolly. However, March 2nd, 73, he was traded by St. Louis to the Rangers in exchange for the great Abe DeMarco Jr. And he was eventually traded to the Rangers, by the Rangers, with Sheldon Canadiers and Tommy Williams to LA in exchange for Gilles Marat and Réal Lemieux, which I think was a big trade for the Kings. Now, DeMurph, again, was well known for actually his broadcasting career. He was a Vancouver Canuck radio color commentator prior to the 83 season and remained there until 87. Now, a very learned guy. He attended University of Toronto, where he studied economics and English. Now, beyond hockey, he worked as a stockbroker in Vancouver in the late 80s before becoming a realtor in 1990. Now, he's considered one of West Vancouver's top realtors with Royal LePage Gary Monahan Realty Limited. Now, his family's very talented. Well, he's the older brother of former minor league star Mark Murphy. He's the father of former minor leaguers Ryan Murphy, Patrick Murphy, and Sean Murphy, who was also a major junior AC. Now, he became a brother-in-law of his Los Angeles teammate Vic Vanansky after he married Vanansky's wife's sister, Yvonne Horvat, in 1974. Now, bear with me. This is the big thing. A lot of injuries and that's the Unsung Hero Award. He missed part of the 74 season with strained ribs, whiplash, and a concussion. Suffered in a taxi cab incident in Boston following a game on November 15, 73. Murphy and teammate Carr were taking Kakea back to the hotel when their vehicle was hit broadside at an intersection by a speeding police car. Carr also suffered a concussion, and the cab driver broke his neck. While he was out with the injury, Murphy was traded to LA. He did not return to action until LA's December 8, 73 game versus Atlanta. He played that game with a helmet and continued to wear it until LA's February 16, 74 game against Boston. Now, he missed part of the 79 season with a back injury suffered during LA's November 18 game versus Pittsburgh. Did not return until November 29, 78. He also missed part of the year with a strained groin against Montreal on December 16th. Did not return until January. Now, he missed part of the 81 season with an MCL tear in his left knee, an injury suffered during a game against, of course, Toronto, and he was out for a short while. He missed part of the 82 season with torn cartilage in his right knee, an injury suffered during LA's preseason game versus Vancouver. He did not return until January 21st, 1982. Now, there's other injuries he suffered tying into that big accident, but the big thing, not saying that accident was kept hid, but it was a big foo-for-row to say if insurance packages should cover hockey players when they're not on the ice. And there was some discussion if, again, that could be the end of Carr and Murphy's career because of the severity. Don't know why the cop was speeding. But I know this for a fact, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at the raw stats that Mr. Murphy had, he didn't really play full seasons. And I give an example. All the years he played with LA, he was always missing 5 or 10 games, especially at the 82 season. We missed almost a whole year. But a very, very, again, mentally strong guy. You gotta understand, ladies and gentlemen, from the 1974 season to the early to mid 1980s, the LA Kings were making the playoffs almost every year, and are getting a hard time because they were playing either the Kings or losing in the first round. They made it to the quarterfinals in 1976 and 1977, and again expanded in 82. But they're having a hard time. They're 1 or 2 players away from being a real Final Four contender. But Marcel Dion, Dave Taylor, all the key players, the good rugged defenseman. Murphy was someone we all looked up to, and the fact was, he seemed like a Vancouver Canuck or a Winnipeg Jet of the modern era. Very dedicated to his community, very dedicated to hockey in general. But from the 1963 Pee Wee tournament to the current day, it's been 50 plus years where Mike Murphy has done everything to promote and support and develop the sport he loves. And Mike Murphy has great respect by us in the media because, again, he's a hockey mind. And in the Hockey Hall of Fame down the road, if it's ever expanded to include players that have had a good, successful career, I know the LA Kings Hall of Fame, he's a first round selection. But like I said, what would stop him, literally, ladies and gentlemen? He was one of the better two-way players. If he won a couple of Selkies, and if the Kings would have won a cup or 1 or 2 cups in that year, he would definitely be there. You can't play on Marcel Dion's line unless you're very, very good. And I really used to look forward to the Kings coming in on Saturday nights against the Habs or the Leafs with Murphy and Dion and all the tough Kings players, and Randy Maneri and Kenny Geezer and all that. They were a very, very smooth team, sort of the West Coast version of the Montreal Canadiens without the big third or fourth line. But Marcel Dion, what a pleasure to see Murphy and Dion playing. The great shorthand they had. This was before Lucky Luke and even before Charlie Simmer. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here with our Vintage LA Kings podcast, let us know with a like, comment, or subscribe. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to comment. And requests on any LA King of the big era from 68 to the Gretzky era is more than welcome, always considered. And don't forget, there's tons of Kings podcasts on this channel. If you want to put in your favorite King, you're going to find it. And my fascination comes from Whitey Whiting and Gene Carr, wondering why Gene Carr and like the connection with the New York Rangers, because the Rangers and St. Louis and the Kings would trade a lot back in the day. I don't know why, but it seemed like every time I picked up hockey news, Rangers traded with the Kings, Rangers trading with St. Louis traded all together. And you look at the rosters, if you didn't play with the Rangers, you played with the Kings, didn't play with the Kings, played with St. Louis. Goaltenders as well is pretty amazing. Like, anyway, we should do a podcast on how St. Louis, the Rangers and the Kings are connected through various trades and draft picks. It's quite interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. And don't forget, if you still haven't got your mother or mother-in-law a gift or flowers, it's never too late, because on the East Coast of Canada, the stores are open till sometimes 10 o'clock, so drop in. Thanks for listening. Bye.